9 liters, 1 year. And the second largest blockchain in the world is hemorrhaging its best minds faster than anyone wants to admit. In the last 30 days alone, 5 senior Ethereum Foundation researchers resigned. Not left for new opportunities. Not retired. Walked out the door, including every single one of the 3 protocol leads who built the systems you use every day. And then on top of all of that, Bankless, the podcast that turned millions of people into Ethereum believers, their co-founder sold every single ETF he owned. Not some, all of it. I'm Tony. And today we are going deep into the story that is reshaping Ethereum's future, and nobody is connecting the dots. Before we go any further, everything you hear on this channel is for educational and informational purposes only. This is not financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. Let's start where we always do: yesterday's market. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The good. Bitcoin is stabilizing between $77,000 and $78,000 after President Trump signaled a potential deal with Iran this weekend, which could ease oil prices and reduce one layer of geopolitical pressure on risk assets. That's a real positive. Tom Lee's BitMine, which we'll get into in part 2, bought 60,000 ETH worth $126 million, doubling down at these prices. And JPMorgan just launched its second tokenized money market fund directly on the public Ethereum blockchain. That is Wall Street saying, "We believe in Ethereum's infrastructure." The bad. Ethereum ETF spot funds have now logged 10 consecutive days of outflows. 10 straight days. $216 million drained in 1 week alone. The SEC also indefinitely shelved its tokenized stocks framework, a major potential catalyst for Ethereum that was supposed to drop the week of May 18th. It did not. That spooked markets and triggered an immediate sell-off across crypto. The ugly. 9 Ethereum Foundation senior leaders have left in 2026. Bankless co-founder David Hoffman sold all his ETH. And Ethereum is now sitting 57% below its all-time high of $4,953 set back in August of 2025. Those 3 numbers together tell a very uncomfortable story. And that story is what this episode is all about. Let's put names to this, because a list of 9 departures sounds abstract until you understand who these people actually are. In February, Tomasz Stańczak, the co-executive director, the person brought in less than a year earlier to reform the organization, resigned after roughly 11 months. That set off the alarm bells. In March, Josh Stark, a 7-year veteran, the operations and writing lead who was basically the institutional memory of the foundation, left. Then May hit, and the dam broke. Tim Bako, the protocol cluster lead, the person who has coordinated every major Ethereum upgrade since the merge, gone. Barnaby Mono, protocol researcher, gone. Trent Van Epps, protocol coordinator, gone. Alex Stokes, protocol researcher on leave of absence. Julian Ma, who built Ethereum's censorship resistance mechanism called Fossil. Carl Beek, 7 years at the foundation, one of the original designers of the beacon chain that enabled proof of stake. Both out the door on the same day. The Ethereum Foundation's protocol cluster, the team responsible for base layer research, has lost contributors at every single layer it covers, 5 of them in 30 days. Let that sink in. Now, the foundation says the roadmap is unchanged. Client teams outside the EF handle the actual engineering, and insider Ryan Berkmans says the departures are about internal sub-strategy disagreements and a deliberate generational shift, not a loss of faith in Ethereum. That is the official counter-narrative. We'll let you decide what to believe. Here's the story that nobody is connecting to those departures. And it goes back to March 13th. The Ethereum Foundation published a 38-page document they called the EF Mandate. It established what they called CROPS values, CROPS, censorship resistance, open source, privacy, and security. On the surface, sounds completely reasonable. Most of the Ethereum community supports those values in the abstract. Then things got weird. The document reportedly contained references to the Milady NFT community, a controversial online group with provocative cultural associations. Reports then surfaced from The Block, a credible crypto publication, that employees were being pressured to sign a loyalty pledge tied to this mandate. Not asked, pressured. Some refused, and the wave of May departures followed. Paul Dillon Ennis, a lecturer at the University of Dublin and an Ethereum historian, put it plainly: the mandate created an, quote, unnecessary cultural schism, given that the people it involves are already aligned around crops values. Laura Shin, one of crypto's most respected journalists, said the EF was prioritizing ideology over competitiveness. And she noted the mandate included references that, and I quote, some contributors were reportedly asked to sign a loyalty commitment. The EF declined to comment publicly on any of this. The silence from the foundation has, in many ways, made things worse. Because when you don't explain 9 departures, the community fills in the blanks. And then, while all of this was happening behind the scenes, 2 more public signals hit, and the crypto community lost its mind. May 21st, David Hoffman, co-founder of Bankless, the podcast that has been Ethereum's most powerful retail megaphone since 2019, posted publicly that he had sold his last ETH. Every single coin gone. This is a man who built his entire public identity around the Ethereum thesis. This was not a rebalance. This was not rotating into stables. This was a clean exit. And he specifically cited a significant shift in, quote, CT sentiment, crypto Twitter sentiment, over the prior 2 weeks. His co-founder Ryan Sean Adams called it the end of Era 1 of Bankless, a 6-year collaboration. Adams says he's still bullish on ETH and will stay on the podcast. But the optics are hard to ignore. One co-founder liquidates. The other steps back from the mic. That is not a pivot. That is a punctuation mark. On that same day, May 21st, former Ethereum Foundation researcher Donkrad Feist posted his own bombshell. He proposed creating an entirely new organization, one funded with a minimum of $1 billion in ETH, to, quote, save Ethereum. His 4 requirements: a minimum $1 billion in ETH seed funding, a permanent staking revenue stream, a board explicitly accountable to ETH holders, and, his exact words, a leader who is, quote, competent and wants to fight. Feist's argument? The current EF holds less than 0.1% of all ETH. It receives 0 revenue from staking or transaction fees. It has no financial stake in whether ETH goes up or down. That misalignment, he argues, is the root of the problem. May 24th. Vitalik Buterin, Ethereum's co-founder, finally responded. In a lengthy post on X, he broke his silence and addressed months of turbulence directly. His key statement, quote, the EF is choosing to use its remaining resources to pursue longevity over breadth. Yes, this means we sell less ETH, end quote. Let me break down the 4 most important things he revealed. Number 1, smaller ship. The EF will shrink its scope. It will only fund work that is, quote, critical to the success of Ethereum as a censorship-resistant, open, private, and secure system, and only work that would not happen without the Foundation's direct involvement. Some respected contributors and projects will move outside the EF structure. That is not a failure. That is intentional. Number 2, sells less ETH. He called it mild austerity. The Foundation holds approximately 0.16% of all ETH, worth roughly $408 million. It will now extend its runway by selling less. For you as an ETH holder, that means less structural sell pressure from the Foundation. Number 3, his own power shrinks. Vitalik explicitly stated that his influence within the organization will, quote, continue to shrink, which is honestly what I want. The board is expanding. New leadership is coming. He is deliberately stepping back. Number 4, and this is the one that matters most to me. He revealed that approximately 90% of his own net worth is held in ETH. The remaining roughly $40 million is in on-chain fiat, already earmarked for open-source biotech and software initiatives. 90% in ETH. The man who created it hasn't sold. He's not hedging. He's fully committed. So where does all of this leave you? Let me give you both sides. Straight. The bull case. Tom Lee is buying $126 million of ETH at these prices. JPMorgan is building on Ethereum right now. The Glamsterdam upgrade, targeting June, promises 10,000 transactions per second and a 78.6% gas fee reduction. The EF selling less ETH removes structural selling pressure, and Vitalik has 90% of his net worth in this asset. These are not small signals. The bear case. 9 of Ethereum's best technical minds are gone. There is a leadership vacuum at the foundation. An interim director named Bastian Aue, who very few people in the crypto community can even name. The ETF outflows have been persistent for 10 straight days. The SEC just pulled a major catalyst off the table. Bankless sold everything, and money is rotating to Solana and XRP ETFs, not back into ETH. Both of those narratives are real. Both of those narratives are happening simultaneously. What you do with that information, that is on you. Do your own research. Watch where the smart money is actually moving. We will keep tracking it. Before I close, I want to leave you with something. Proverbs 11 verse 14 says, "Where there is no guidance, a people falls, but in an abundance of counselors there is safety." That verse hits different when you're watching one of the most important technical organizations in crypto lose 9 of its counselors in a single year. The question is not whether Ethereum survives this. The blockchain is bigger than the foundation. The question is, who fills that guidance vacuum next? And what happens to ETH's price while we wait for the answer? As always, this is not financial advice. Everything discussed on Tony Crypto and Stock News is for educational purposes only. Please do your own research and consult a licensed financial advisor before making any investment decisions. If you want to start trading crypto, I personally use Kraken. Trusted, reliable, and the link to join is in the description below. And if you're ready to start investing in stocks, SoFi Invest is giving you $25 free when you open an active investing account with $25 or more. That link is in the description too. If this episode gave you something to think about, hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Drop a comment. Tell me, are you bullish or bearish on ETH right now? Part 2 drops soon. The Market War. We're going deep into Tom Lee and BitMine's massive ETH accumulation, the ETF rotation to XRP and Solana, the SEC tokenized stocks delay, JPMorgan building on Ethereum, and the Glamsterdam upgrade. You do not want to miss it. I'm Tony. See you in part 2. God bless you.